Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it has been quite some time since I've done a tag video, but one that has been going around lately caught my eye, and I think it's called My Intimidating TBR, and it was created originally by Lindsey Rey, and I will link to her two videos because she did an original one a while back and then she just did another one recently, and it's basically talking about different books on your TBR. I currently have a TBR that is like 105, and so she said she tagged anybody who has over 60 books on their TBR, so that's definitely me. And also I thought this would be a good way to sort of look at my TBR and think about some of the books that I have on my shelf that I would like to read. So let's get into the questions. The first one is, what book have you been unable to finish? And that would be Winter by Marissa Meyer. I was super excited when this first came out, and I am, I don't know, like almost 200 pages in? Let's see. No, I am. I'm 203 pages in, and I just keep getting stalled. Every time I go to read it, I'll read, you know, about 20 pages and then I'll put it back down. And I think it's partly because I'm just not in the mood for this, and I'm not in the mood for YA in general, but I do want to read it, and I just got Stars Above, the short story collection or the novella collection, and so I do want to read it and then read that one, but I just have not been able to finish this one. The next question is, which book have you not read because you just haven't had time? And that is Fortune's Pawn by Rachel Bach. And the reason I haven't read this is because I know as soon as I do, I'm going to want to read the other two, and I just don't have time to invest in another series right now, so I keep putting it off, even though I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this and the other two books in the series. Question number 3 is, which book have you not read because it's a sequel? And I'm going to do a little twist on this one, because this book I haven't read because it's going to have a sequel. So when I first bought An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, I thought it was a standalone, and right after I bought it, it was announced that it was going to have a follow-up book, and as soon as I found out there was going to be a second book, my excitement for this waned, because honestly I just do not really want to get invested in more series right now. And so as much as everybody says I'm going to love this, and I'm sure I will, I just can't bring myself to pick it up because I don't want to get into another series, and I just am not sure that I am going to be excited about it when I start reading it. So next one is because it is brand new, and that would be The Cherry Harvest. And I remember seeing this when it first was, like when it was coming out, and being really excited about it and really wanting it, and I ended up getting it for Christmas, and I'm still really excited about it. I just haven't gotten to it because it's in a pile of brand new books that I really want to read, and I just have not had time, slash there's just so many new books that I want to read. The next one is because you read a book by the same author that you didn't really enjoy, and that is Saving Grace by Lee Smith, or Fair and Tender Ladies by Lee Smith, or Family Linen by Lee Smith, basically anything by Lee Smith, because I read The Last Girls quite a few years ago, and it took me forever to read. Like, I feel like it took me 2 years to actually finish that book, because I don't even know. That was one of those books that I was super excited about because it had fictional tellings or fictional characterizations of like Holland's women, and there were settings in it that were clearly Holland's because Lee Smith went to my university. But at the same time, that book was so dry, and I did not enjoy that book at all. I believe I gave it 2 stars, and so I've been wanting to read more Lee Smith because I want to give her another chance because I hear great things about her. But I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just not excited about reading her books because of my experience with The Last Girls. The next one is a book you haven't read because you are not in the mood for it or haven't been in the mood for it, and that is Emma by Jane Austen, or really any of the Jane Austen books that I haven't read yet. I started when I first read, well, I read Pride and Prejudice back in high school, but when I first started rereading and wanted to read all the Jane Austen novels, I started from publication, and so I've read, I think, the first 4 up to Northanger Abbey, and then I tried to read Mansfield Park, and I just couldn't. And so I have not gotten to any of the rest of the books, and so I just feel like every time I look at them, I'm like, I'm not in the mood for that. Yep, not in the mood for that. So I have not read Emma, Persuasion, or Mansfield Park because I just never seem to be in the mood for Jane Austen. The next one is because it's humongous, and that is Middlemarch. So this book is giant, and I really want to read it because I also want to read Rebecca Mead's My Life in Middlemarch. My university did like a read-along where they read this and then they read that. And I had signed up to read along with them as an alum, but ended up not doing it because it's such a big book. And I think that Elena, maybe? I'm not sure. Somebody mentioned doing a read-along for this book later on this year. Oh no, it was Rincey. Rincey talked about doing a read-along for this book later this year, and I definitely would be on board for that, even though I clearly failed at doing a read-along before for this book. But I don't know. I feel like I have to prepare myself because it's huge. Huge. The next one is because it was a cover buy and then you found that it got bad reviews. That would be The Rest of Us Just Live Here. It wasn't necessarily a cover buy, it was more of like a premise buy because it has a really interesting premise, but this has gotten a lot of really mixed reviews, and so I'm a little wary of it lately, and that's mainly why I haven't gotten to it, but we'll see. I will reserve judgment. And then there is the most intimidating book on your TBR, and that is this one, The Last Cavalier by Alexander Dumas. And the reason that this is more intimidating to me than Middlemarch is because, yes, it is bigger, but I really love The Three Musketeers, The Count of Monte Cristo, the rest of the D'Artagnan romances, and I loved The Black Tulip, but I have read some Dumas that isn't as good. And so I'm a little afraid of this because if it ends up being one of those books that's kind of like the Dumas books, then this is going to be a long book to get through. So I'm hoping that it's more like The Count of Monte Cristo or the D'Artagnan romances. But we'll have to see, because I really want to get to this year because I haven't read any of his books recently, and he is definitely one of my favorite authors. Yeah. The last one is Who Do You Tag? I'm terrible about tagging people, so I'm going to do what Lindsey does and say if you were born in the month of March, like me, then you are tagged. I hope to see some other videos for this tag because I thought this tag was really fun and interesting way to look at your TBR. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and if you have any encouragement for the books that I've shown that are on my TBR, I would love to hear it. And I will see you next time. Bye!